Hello, this is Cody Bugan over at VestRight, and I'm here today with Lisa from our VestRight team. Say hi to everybody, Lisa.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about why it is so important that you take the time to build rapport with property owners, especially in the case of our business model when you have a goal of potentially purchasing their property. You need to understand why building that rapport is so important.
Cody, can you go into a couple points on why it's so important to build that rapport?
Yeah, for sure. I have this thing I talk about all the time, and I call them hot buttons, right? So understanding the property owner's hot buttons, what's important to them. Quite frankly, I talk about hot buttons related to everybody you transact with, everybody involved in your business. You should understand the hot buttons of your consultants, of your buyers, of your sellers, of your jurisdictions. But today we're talking about the property owner. So we're a big believer in legacy, right? And understanding that the property owner's legacy needs to be important to you and your company in order, in my opinion, for you to have fulfillment related to your company. And I'm not going to go down my personal development, personal growth, that journey I love to go down, but I'll just say the property owner's legacy should be important to you. Okay. And by you making sure that the property owner's legacy is important to you, it's going to cause you to want to build a relationship with them, to want to build a rapport with them, to want to get to know, not only build rapport with them and build trust. And by the way, I think nothing sells or brings deals together or closes deals more than trust does. I think trust is the foundation of every single relationship. And there's a lot of ways to build trust. One is by caring about the other side, right? Caring about what's important to them, caring about what's their hot buttons. So, in a deal, I believe there's always a way to find a win-win as long as all the parties at the table are reasonable, right? Sometimes win-wins just can't be accomplished because not everybody at the table is reasonable. But if everybody at the table is reasonable, I believe win-wins are always possible. But in order to know how to structure a deal, in order to create a win-win, you've got to know what's important to the other side. And so by you understanding, through you building that rapport, building that relationship, figuring out what's important to them, now what happens is you can go back to the drawing board and you can say, okay, this, and this is important to that property owner. And let's just use a simple example. Let's just say there's 10 more main points, and I'm just pulling that out of the hat. But let's just say there's 10 main points to a deal. And you know what points are important to that property owner and what points aren't. And then what happens is you go back to the drawing board and you hit the points that are important to them, but then you win on all the other points that's not even on their radar, to where ultimately you're like, it's almost like art. It's like you're manufacturing this deal that at the end of the day, you can get it across the finish line and have it be a win for the property owner, but also a win for you. But here's the thing. If you don't build that rapport and you don't take the time to actually care about their legacy and what's important to them, and realizing that this might be the largest transaction in the legacy of their family, if you don't actually care about the outcome for them, I will tell you this. You might attempt to build rapport or build relationship, but oftentimes people are going to see that you're not being authentic. And so I first challenge you to go back and get real with yourself and make sure you can go to the table with these property owners and be authentic and genuine about caring about them. Because my business model, I'll just be frank, I don't even want to teach you if your whole thing is, how do I rip a property owner? How do I do off market, because we do off market. We specialize in off market. But if and let's say you're a house wholesaler, and please, I have plenty of friends that are house wholesalers. I appreciate, please don't take what I'm about to say the wrong way. But wholesalers specialize in off market. And a big reason why they specialize in off market is because they have a better chance of ripping something. And the reason they're really good at off market is because they have a better chance of buying something below market value, okay, or finding someone that's in a motivated, desperate situation, or that they're uneducated on what the true value is. And so they have a better chance of buying the deal below market, because the whole model behind wholesaling is you buy below market, you turn around and flip it really quick to an investor, you make a quick 5, 10, 15 grand, and it's all because you did the acquisition for less than what it was actually worth. And I have no desire to bring that mindset into my business model, because that is not where we make our money. We don't make our money by trying to get the land from the property owner below market. Because if I truly care about that property owner's legacy, I want to pay them market value for their land. I want to pay them what it's worth. So I know I'm all over the place, but I just think it all starts with, do you actually care about that property owner? And if you do, then building rapport with them will be extremely easy, because it's authentic, it's genuine, and they're going to see that in you. And there's this, people do have what's called intuition, okay? And I'll tell you what, if you're authentic, if you're genuine, and you're building that relationship, man, once they start trusting you, it just all becomes so much easier. I know that was a very long-winded answer, but hopefully you now understand why I believe building rapport with a property owner is so extremely important.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. But I had a question. So you mentioned a lot about hot buttons and focusing on what's important to the landowner. Can you give a few examples of those hot buttons? Some common
Yeah.
ones, maybe?
I mean, some of the common things in a deal is, okay, what's the price? Okay. How much earnest money are you going to put up? Um, how long is your feasibility study? How long until you close? Like, there's these kind of key,
Mhm.
components to a deal. But let's just say, the closing date is extremely important. Okay. Because the thing, and that's often a hot button in our business model, because typical real estate transactions close really quick, right? They close in 30 days, 60 days, whatever. Well, in our business model, that is not the case at all. Because if we're going to go out and pay development values for land, we got to make sure it's developable before we close. And it's not developable until it's approved for development, because you need to get the stamp of the jurisdiction. And so, but sometimes we might pay 10 times more for the land than what it's worth as is sitting there, right? But the thing is, in order for us to pay you that 5 or 10 times more money than what it's worth as is, you got to give us the time to get it through the process. And so, oftentimes, a hot button is the property owner wanting it to close as soon as possible. Okay. And so, and that's not necessarily a hot button that where I'm just going to go and do what the property owner wants. They want me to close it like a normal real estate transaction in 30 or 60 days. So it might actually be a bad example for this. But the way we deal with that hot button is that we spend the time to educate them. And there again, education is one of the best ways to sell, in my opinion, right? Is to put together a deal, is to sell through what I call education, and to take the time to educate them. And it's so important with our business model because, let's say they're talking to Joe Blow real estate agent down the road. No offense, real estate agents, it's not your fault, because it's not required education, and it's probably not because no one's teaching it until now. But the reality is very few people out there understand our business model. They don't understand the development space. And so I have to take the time to educate them. And so it's not a hot button that I'm just going to solve for them and say, yeah, no problem, I'll close in 30, 60 days. But more what I do is I say, okay, tell you what, I'll close in 30 to 60 days. here's the price. So here's what your land appraises for. Here's what it comps out that it's worth as is, as it sits. Okay. So I'll close no problem in 30 days for that price. And let's just say that price is whatever it is, right? It's $100,000 just for round numbers, right? Or let me educate you on why we need the time we do. And if you give me that time I need, it might be depending on where it is in the country and a lot of variables, or I'll pay you, let's just go halfway between the 5 and 10x. Or you give me the time and I'll pay you $750,000, right? So do you want $100,000 now, or do you want $750,000 in, depending here again where it is in the country, in 9 to 18 months, right? I'll tell you this, in all of my career, I've never had a property owner say, well, I'll take the $100,000 now, right? So it's not always, when I talk about hot buttons, it's not always that you just do for them whatever their hot button is. It might be that you just take the time to educate them related to a hot button they have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Okay,
Perfect.
there you go. What else? What's next? You got anything else?
Yes, another question. So you brought up a lot about the business model, VestRight's business model. For those that don't know, who are watching, can you talk about that?
Yeah, it's in real simple terms. I'll just say that, there's lots of people out there, not lots, there's a handful of people out there teaching land deals, right? You can understand our model is much more specific than just we're out there doing land deals. There's guys out there teaching tie up rural land and kind of flip it. It's basically like wholesaling with land, right? And a lot of it's rural land and you're making a few bucks. What we teach is what's called a value add model. And value add is basically when you figure out a way to improve the value of an asset, okay? It's not by buying low, ripping someone off, and then selling it for a few more bucks to make $1, okay? That's not what it is here. You make money by bringing value to the deal. And how do you do that? Well, let me tell you how. Is that we specialize in going out and finding off-market land, here again, stuff that's not listed, and there's numerous reasons why. And we do listed deals here and there, but that's not our bread and butter. And it's raw land, but it's raw land that has development potential. That is the key, is that it has development potential. And that's where the value add is, right? That's where you can go out and find this raw land that has development potential. And we teach you how to evaluate the development potential. We teach you how to underwrite the deal from an acquisition standpoint to figure out what it's worth. And then we teach you that approval process, call it land use, call it entitlements, call it whatever. It's basically getting the development approved through the jurisdiction. And then we teach you how to sell the deal, right? And so, but the value add is you take a piece of raw land and you turn it into an approved development. Extreme value add there. You bring tremendous value to that project, to that transaction. And that's why we have the types of paydays we do. So that's what we do, and that's what we teach. Hey, so I hope you found that valuable on why I believe it is so very important for you to build rapport with the property owner. And it's very key to understand, because we're talking about off-market deals here. This isn't just a property that was put up for sale and that everybody and their friends know about the deal. Is that if it's off market and just that rapport, like you're trying to take someone that doesn't have their property for sale and get them comfortable with selling their property. I can't think of a better way to do that than building rapport and them trusting you and being in a position where they see it's a good business. It's a good decision for their family to make this move. It's a good decision for their legacy. Okay, you might have found this business model kind of intriguing and you want to learn more. I get it. You're not the first one. So, but if you want to learn more, click the link below, and there you can download a free copy of a playbook that I put together that lays out in much more detail what our business model is all about. And I would be amazed if you don't find tremendous value in it. So with that said, take care.